Good Wednesday afternoon. Wanted to come on to share a story of how I almost walked out of a church and didn't want to preach no more. I was asked to preach, and this was at my home church. I was asked to preach, um, and I was doing, I believe, a revival. And I was riding home from work, and my wife was riding home together. And I said, I told my wife, I said, babe, I said, God gave me something for tonight's service. We had been in revival for man, uh, I think 21 days, 30 something days. And it was broken up between the ministerial staff. And I was an elder at the time, and I knew I've always had a gift, the prophetic gift. Um, just learning how to operate it and maneuver with it. Um, just asking God to lead. Anyway, I told my wife, I said, write these three things down. I said, because the Lord wants to speak about these three topics on tonight. And He wants me to pray with these people who need help in these three areas. So uh, it's been a few years back, but I can remember like it was yesterday. And the three topics was to, it was very, very, very simple, but it was needed for this moment, for the service. And me, I'm a person that I'm not in, excuse me, I'm not in everybody's business. I don't know what's going on with everybody. I don't know, um, I'm not in the cliques and the groups and the chatter and the gossip groups. So I don't know what be going on in service in churches. You know what I'm saying? In church, I'm one of those ones. I do what I got to do my work, my ministry. Go home. Don't call me unless you need something. Pertaining to help, prayer, ministry, something like that. Other than that, I try to stay out of folks' business because I know when the Lord speaks, I want it to be real. I want it to be real, real, and not prophesying or prophesying off of what I already know. You see what I'm saying? And actually speaking truth from what God has given to me. So I didn't know anything. I just was, praying, and I was given these three topics. And what happened was, I was in the middle of preaching, and I began to open up, and uh, I was getting ready to minister, to preach the word. And the Lord said, no, do this first. Do what I told you first, the three words that I had given you to pray for. I said, okay. I said, all right. So I got up and was ministering and went into a strong worship, praise. It was God was in the house. He was in the house. And man, I spoke those three words, and immediately people started moving. I had three chairs out, and the three chairs that I had out, um, one person was supposed to sit in each chair, or you can gather around that one chair. It represented what the topic was, what I was talking about at that moment, those three topics. And when I tell you, God started to move, and people started to come to the altar, and people started to come. And y'all, I'm telling you, the Spirit of God was truly in the house. My pastor got up while I was preaching and um, got the mic, got a microphone, and stopped me in the middle of my ministry. And the service from there, once they got the mic, it went totally left field. And I mean, I never dishonor leadership. I have never dishonored leadership. I've never ever, man, I've never dishonored leadership at all. I have the utmost respect for leaders. Even to this day, if I see my old pastors somewhere, man, and they're in ministry, I'll assist them. I'm bearing for them. I'll carry their bags. I have no ill feelings with any of them. You know, I left all of them the right way. But never. But for this to happen at that moment in ministry in my life as a young preacher, man, I was like literally crushed. And the pastor took over. My pastor took over the whole situation that was going on with the three words of people that was up there, and the pastor, knowing the background of people's business, calls for them to lash out at the people and to go a whole and take what God was trying to say, take it a whole nother direction. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? I don't know. And all of a sudden they were saying, oh, this and this, and you need to do this and yeah. I'm like, oh God, okay, I didn't know any of this. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. So being a young preacher and standing there like, is this really happening right now? Man, let me tell you, I just wanted to crawl up under a pew. I wanted to shrivel down to the size of a little ant and just run away and fall through a crack somewhere. Literally. And then after my pastor took a whole literally hour and something on what was going on with the people, turned around and then hands me the mic back and says, okay, now preach your word. Are you serious? Did what? Man, when I tell you, I was so just like, am I really here right now? Like, and I, some people, it may seem, oh, that's nothing, but y'all understand. Like, that was crazy. Man, I was so crushed. I was so hurt. I was so bothered. I got home. I preached just like 10 minutes of my message to be obedient to my leader. But when I got home, I told my wife, man, I cried. I told my wife, I said, listen, I said, if I don't preach, if I don't prophesy, if I don't speak another word to anybody, I'll be okay. Because that really it did something to my spirit, to my heart, and my mind, and my soul. I had to pray, and I had to go on a serious fast, y'all, to deliver myself from wanting to quit, wanting to give up, wanting to call my pastor and let them know, look, you ain't ever got to worry about me preaching another day at your church. Man, that thing took me out, y'all. It took me out, but I thank God for the mind of God. I thank God. I thank God for God because I mean, and it's crazy. You know it's crazy because other ministers were calling and texting me like, man, what was that? What happened? I had no explanation. I said, y'all, it's okay, and I still to this day have not disrespected my leader with that situation. And people still asking what happened that night. I don't know. That's just the way the direction went, and I still honor leadership, and I went with it, and I like just that thing crushed me, y'all. Crushed me. You hear me? I want to give, but I thank God for keeping me and keeping my mind and my heart and my soul. And I'm staying on the battlefield, still preaching God's word. Preacher's Diary. I'm out.